And welcome everyone to the 36th edition of the Voices of the Voiceless podcast. I'm John Fisher alongside Brad Shepard, and this week, while I'm not my normal jovial self, well, A, because the Penguins are losing right now as we speak, as we record this, but also the world lost a couple of legends in this past week. One of them infamously being Chyna, at 45 years old. Should be WWE Hall of Famer, but Triple H hates Google. And music legend Prince died within 2 days of each other. So not the most exciting of beginnings, but as we like to give our salutes to them and to rest in peace as well.
Yeah, I mean, as we recorded last week's podcast, John, you know this, of course, but it literally the news about Chyna was announced, maybe a few hours at most after we finished recording.
Yeah, we just missed it, unfortunately. Yeah. When in reality, after we learned more information about her passing, she might have died the day before, and Felix, her manager, didn't find her until Thursday night. No, it was Wednesday night. It was just a shame, truly a shame. Way too early. Get into some of the information as to how she died. That came out within the last day or so. And while there's some speculation and some controversy surrounding it with her manager, who so-called was checking up on her for good reason.
Yeah, checking up on her while the camera was rolling as part of this deconstruction of Chyna documentary. And he said that she had been abusing prescription pills that gotten out of control the last couple of weeks of her life. And while that may make for a good documentary, why did he not step in and help if that's her friend? Not just business manager, but friend, human, yeah. A fellow. Never mind, not even a friend, but a fellow human being.
Yeah.
It's simply amazing to me. I hope they do investigate this guy and find out what the story is.
Yeah,
because this just sounds a little weird.
Yeah, so she was 45. She was 45 years old. Found in bed by her manager. 40. His name is Felix. She was 40. Well, okay. Now that's interesting because I reported 45 at my work, but her birthday was. She was born in 1970, so she's still. And her birthday is not until December. She's 45, unless her birthday was.
She was born in 69.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes it interesting. Every media outlet on the planet had her born in 1970, so that explains it.
Yeah, I mean, TNA actually had done a Chyna special. She worked there very briefly.
Yeah,
and they put the actual 1970, the improper year she was born as well, which really is no surprise. I mean, that's TNA.
No. Even Wikipedia, which isn't known for their accuracy, they're usually very correct with dates and when things happen. They have her birth year being 1970. So yeah, she was 46. Yeah. So let no one fool you there. No illegal drugs were involved. As Brad said, she was taking prescription medicine and abusing it. The cause of death has been confirmed, and it was an accident. And I think you and I, when we got dinner a few days ago, an accidental overdose, and we were unfortunately exactly right.
Yeah, it's really sad, and she was probably, frankly, totally speculation, but probably mixing like the anti-anxiety, depression medication with alcohol would be my guess. It's kind of like a deadly cocktail, so I mean, we'll see what comes out, but that's just speculation. Mixing those kind of things really is dangerous.
Yeah,
it's just really, really sad.
You have combinations like Ambien and Valium with alcohol. You don't even have to be drinking heavily. You could just have a few cocktails. And that's all it really takes for a bad combination in chemistry to click in your body, and the worst can happen. And clearly it did here. Just to go through a couple of our accolades. First woman to qualify for the King of the Ring tournament. The first woman to win the Intercontinental title. The first woman ever to be a number one contender for the WWF Championship. If it wasn't for her, Triple H might not have gotten as over as he did. Huge in the Generation X. And then, I mean, I'll let you get into how she departed WWE. but it was because of Stephanie and mainly Stephanie. I can fairly say that's accurate. You were watching then. I was only still a child, so I don't know that as well as you do.
Yeah. So I definitely have very fond memories of Chyna, the whole Attitude Era. I saw Chyna live on Raw, in attendance, you name it. Man, she was such an important figure to women in professional wrestling. I don't think people today who didn't watch at the time really truly grasp that. The thing she did for women and the barrier she broke down. I mean, 5'10", 220, 30 pounds, solid muscle coming in. And she was Triple H's bodyguard, attacked Marlena, who was with Goldust at the time. And that's how she debuted. And it was just like, who is this woman, this jacked woman? And she immediately was, a force to be reckoned with, a big part in Triple H getting over, and went on to do some amazing things with men in intergender matches, which you will see today in Lucha Underground. The split was really unfortunate. She really, I think, wanted to be accepted. She had a serious long-term relationship with Paul Levesque, Triple H, which is no surprise to anyone. And so it goes that Triple H had an affair with Stephanie McMahon, and it created a huge amount of discontent. It ended the relationship, and Triple H began a relationship with Stephanie, and she was taken off TV shortly after and fired by fax. And that was the end of Chyna. It was very, very sad. She was totally heartbroken over that, and she wanted to have some brief stints in New Japan Pro Wrestling and TNA, as I mentioned.
Yeah,
she did the whole adult film industry stuff. She had a real bad relationship with Sean Waltman, actually. A lot of wild accusations there. They actually, WWE, after they fired her, they sued her, saying that she couldn't use the name Chyna, and she had to start using the name Chyna Doll, and then actually changed her legal name to Chyna. So that's how she was able to use it. But people don't realize she was a smart woman, college educated. She taught English in Japan. She spoke several languages. She had a rough upbringing, and I think she just wanted to be loved and accepted like everyone else. Mm-hmm. And she just had a big influence. And, I just want people to realize that. So
yeah, and so okay, so that brings me. I know we'll get to Raw later, but I think we should talk about it now. So we have the tribute to Chyna, and you had the slate in the beginning shot of Monday Night Raw, which kudos to them, and I knew that was expected. I mean, heck, they did it to a production worker's daughter, and at that point, everybody's equal. Later on, finally in the 10 o'clock hour, we had the package. And, obviously it was done that day. Unfortunately, it was probably a discussion between the executives over the weekend, which there shouldn't be a discussion at all. There was even a Chris Benoit tribute package. There was a night dedicated to Chris Benoit. So where's the disconnect? And yeah, he wasn't charged with the double murder suicide when they aired their Chris Benoit tribute night, but the facts remain the same. Chyna didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so Jake the Snake Roberts, Scott Hall, they did the same exact thing that Chyna did without the porn. So they're beloved by the WWE? Like it's hypocritical.
Yeah, it was actually, I can confirm, the video package they put together was put together mere hours before Raw the same day. I mean, you're talking like 3:30 in the afternoon. So this was a last-minute decision to put something together, and they aired it at 10:30 intentionally, in my opinion, so that kids would not see this, hopefully. I think that's right or wrong. I think that was absolutely their intent, and I think it's a total double standard because they've got plenty of other talent and questionable things that are no real different than Chyna. So I don't buy that excuse at all. But yeah, she absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Of course, their Hall of Fame is a total joke anyway. But I mean, she wanted that. She wanted it. She wanted that acceptance. She wanted to mend the fences with WWE, and they would not invite her to the Hall of Fame ceremony at WrestleMania 32. And a lot of people say that was where she started to spiral down.
Yeah,
unfortunately, because she just wanted to mend fences. So that she could, close those open doors and move on with her life. And as an addict, as someone trying to recover, I think that's something that people need, and they wouldn't allow that for her. So
no, and you're right.
Very sad.
The tribute package was pretty good, though. I do gotta say, I think they did it justice, but I think they could have done a little bit more with it. I'm not upset over what they did. I was just happy they did something. But when people are blaming the death of her on the WWE, that's a huge outrageous claim that just shouldn't be said. Personally, that's not true at all. You could say that factors of their decisions towards her led to that, maybe, but it's not their fault. So for the people that are tweeting about the WWE killing Chyna, like, come on, that's a little bit inappropriate. But I don't know. I mean, that's what we're on the conversation on her. Do you think factors that they did led to her spiraling out of control? I mean, the only person that really know is her, but
yeah. Well, yeah. They've just added a lot of Chyna content to the network as we record this tonight. So yes, of course, all this time they've had it and they decided to do it now, obviously, but that's another story. So yep, it's been added. So if you aren't overly familiar with Chyna, you can go to the network and search her, and they've added a lot of her content. Very good stuff. She had some funny stuff with Mark Henry. She had a great program with Eddie Guerrero, as he referred to her as Mamacita. She won her Intercontinental Championship from Jeff Jarrett, who wanted $200,000 to do the job, $200,000 extra. He's a total prick. No, that's a true story. His contract expired, and they needed him for the night to do the job on pay-per-view, and he demanded $200,000 extra dollars, and they gave it to him because they wanted her to win. But she did a lot of good. The stuff with DX was she was really a big part of DX. I don't think a lot of people realize that. So a lot of good stuff on the network you can check out with Chyna.
But Brad, kids have the network. They can't be looking at Chyna because then they'll Google her name.
Yeah, totally defeats their logic.
Okay, so
they might want to get rid of all the Sunny content too while they're at it.
Well, yes, of course. Well, goddamn, we didn't know Sunny did porn. So we have the tweet of the week, and I disagree with Gary on this one because no, you're not the tweet of the week, you selfish asshole.
Hey, this was Gary's choice, by the way.
I think the real tweet of the week, and let's hit the music. The real tweet of the week, I believe, has to go to Stephanie McMahon, who, in her almighty power, decided to tweet 2 minutes before Chyna's death was made public that her new workout routine is phenomenal, and you can get those six-pack abs and lose all the weight for the beach season. But Stephanie, that's great. But Chyna's dead. So I mean, where you're, and you're the one that texted me that out of nowhere. Did you get a screenshot of that tweet, by the way?
I think I did. Yeah, it was like 4 minutes after it was announced. It went public, and she was doing one of her late night, midnight workouts, and let everyone know how great it was going. But, and she didn't realize it, I'm sure. But it just goes to show how out of touch they are with everything that's outside of their bubble. I mean,
you're right. You're right.
Amazing.
By the way, 2-1 Penguins, 2 goals in a matter of a minute. Go Pens. As we record this on Thursday night, 2 goals in 57 seconds. Thank you, NBC. So let's get to our real you're going to deal with this all night. Let's get to our real tweet of the week, and that is from none other than Brad. I'll let you read it.
Samoa Joe wins the NXT Championship.
I don't want to hear your bullshit. I don't.
I called it. I called it on a house show. I told you before the match it was going to happen.
Explain to the people why it happened.
Well, the actual deal was that at the last TakeOver show in Dallas, WrestleMania weekend, Joe was actually going to lose. I mean, it was going to be Finn Balor. I'm sorry. It was going to be Joe winning and Finn Balor losing. And so we would have had a new NXT champion WrestleMania weekend. And, the infamous, as Brian Alvarez says, plans change. But they did. They changed. And they decided to do it on a house show. And personally, I thought it was very cool. That's something that's old school. You would see once in a while. It adds an unpredictable element to going to a house show. So maybe it's something that you can't miss. And then they did. They turned around. They recorded it because they obviously knew the outcome. And they played it on NXT on the network for everyone to see. So I think it worked out great. It added some buzz to their house shows.
I like the unpredictability factor that it's going to add. So in that sense, I can agree with it. I really can. But I do have some breaking news, Bradley, out of the NXT tapings tonight, and it's not good. How many wrestlers have gotten injured in the last calendar year?
Pretty much 3/4 of the roster.
So this is from the 434 on Facebook, who in their respect are pretty good. They don't post bullshit. They post what's already been reported on. So they're aggregators. And I quote, "The reports are coming in that Bayley may have suffered an ACL injury at tonight's NXT tapings. Whether that's a work like Finn's was at the house show where he lost his belt, I don't know. But that's what I'm hearing right now, and we'll keep you guys posted. Follow us on Twitter at the VOTV Podcast and Fisher Wrestling. We'll keep you all posted. A Bayley's potential injury. I mean, let's just divert the conversation there. If Bayley's hurt, what are they going to do?
Well, I mean, it's good they have the championship offer if that's the case, but she's the cornerstone of the women's division and also one of the cornerstones of the entire NXT product. One of the couple biggest names in NXT, and it's a huge loss for them if that is the case.
If it is the case. Not sure yet. Oh, damn it. The Cap scored. A lot of people tonight are, saying that she just could be getting written off. So Wrestling Inc. is saying that she's not injured. She's just doing a work.
That could be. I mean, they did the work with Finn at the house show where he pretended to have an ankle injury. Now he's got a shoulder injury that's bothered him for a while. It's not a big deal, but he didn't have an ankle injury. It was a total work, and they've been doing that lately. They did it on the main roster with Miz and others lately too.
Yeah.
It's kind of who the hell knows? I don't know what they're doing, but it's good selling, I guess, at least. But I don't know.
So you have NXT in its current product right now. Finn is no longer the champion, and it's a whole new era basically. And I wonder, because what the WWE just put on their social media about Finn leaving NXT for Raw, why are they doing that? Are they really alluding to him going up to the main roster? And this truthfully is the first time they've ever done that if they start doing it with Finn.
And I can add some insight to it. It's going to contain spoilers. So if I do.
Well, I don't want to be spoiled either.
Okay, you don't want to be spoiled. All right. If you do want to know, I guess read the internet.
Was it on tonight's NXT tapings?
Yeah, there was some advancements on that picture. You could probably say at the tapings tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to know, man. I don't want to know. Keep it to yourself. I don't like to be spoiled, man. It's NXT. It's the coolest wrestling product on the planet, at least to me.
But Eric Young debuted tonight on the tapings.
You're right. Eric Young did debut tonight in the tapings.
And, I don't even want to call it a spoiler because WWE has already leaked it on Twitter themselves. So that's not a spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler. I don't consider it a spoiler if the WWE tweets it out. It's no longer a spoiler anymore. But, so Eric Young, who blocked me on Twitter for no reason.
Yeah, another wrestler blocking you on Twitter. What a surprise.
And, okay, speaking of
Hey, meanwhile, the wrestlers are following me on Twitter.
Yeah, tell the people who's followed us on Twitter in the past week.
Katrina from Lucha Underground and Darren Young from WWE. Now the rumor is that there's going to be some talent cuts very soon, like as early as Friday. As we record this, Friday would be the next day. So we'll find out, but they've already released Rich Brennan.
Yep.
That's confirmed. And I don't think he's alone. I think there's a lot of people in trouble on the WWE roster right now.
I do too. One, and hopefully this isn't the case, one might be Wade Barrett. Just cut him early. One might be Damian Sandow, who got beaten to hell tonight on SmackDown. And you really don't know. I hope that isn't
Adam Rose is another one.
Yep. Jack Swagger.
Jack. I mean, they said Darren Young had posted on Twitter that he was something about feeling a lot lighter now with a wink face.
Yeah.
So maybe these guys know, or they've been kind of given the heads up or something. Who knows? We'll have to see. I mean, you never want to see that. It's sad, but the truth is they have too many guys. That's the problem. They have too many guys. They can't use them all.
And that's where people get just lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see anybody out of work, but some people make the best of it. Like Kurt Hawkins started his own wrestling school. Santino Marella. Let's be honest. He wasn't going to last much longer anyway, so he just retired. And look at him now. Has his own academy, teaches jiu-jitsu. He's doing very well for himself. And a lot of others.
Yeah, I was going to say his wrestling / mixed martial arts school is pretty cool.
It is.
He runs shows there, and actually what he does is his champion is the shoot wrestling champion. So in other words, they have an actual wrestling match, the two people that are going to face each other on the card. They have an actual grappling match, and the winner of that shoot grappling match will be named the winner of the actual match by Creative for that card. So in other words, to actually win a match, you have to actually beat your opponent in a grappling match before that. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Very interesting.
So spring cleaning might be negative in some minds, but it can also be positive too for both parties involved. So moving on to Monday Night. Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Monday Night Raw, and what a doozy. What a doozy we had here. So let's get it out right out of the gate, the debut match of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Your entire thoughts on their debut from their entrance to their finish.
Okay, so their attire was pretty much like...
It was awesome.
It was very similar to like what they would wear in New Japan. Like that was a very similar outfit to Wrestle Kingdom, to what they wore at Wrestle Kingdom in 2010, I think. But anyway, I mean, it was a very similar outfit. And so I thought, man, that the black and white, the NWO-ish kind of colors, but I really thought that was cool. I thought the colors were cool. The gas mask design was a little interesting. It was fine. The music was interesting. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was terrible. It just didn't seem to have too much of an oomph to it, so to speak. But man, those guys are, Gallows is 100 times better than he was during his first run. And Carl Anderson is such a polished worker.
I know.
From his experience in Japan, and it really showed. But yeah, no, I mean, I like it overall. I really do. I just hope they don't misuse them. I thought the match itself was a mistake. I don't think they should have faced the Usos. And if they were determined to face the Usos, I think it should have been a squash match.
I agree.
It should have been over in less than 5 minutes.
Yep.
and preferably closer to 2 or 3. And that's exactly what it should have been. It should have been a badass team debuting. Everybody's scared. They kick ass and take names, and they steamroll a team. Now, they could have used the team from NXT as jobbers. They could have used local people, whatever, indies. They could have used anyone. But if you're going to, it's like you don't get guys over by bringing them in as new people to a roster and then having them be in a mid-card match against a mid-card team and have a competitive 15-minute match. That's not how guys get over. They get over by winning, by kicking ass, like Brock Lesnar, like Ronda Rousey, like so many others. That's how they get over. It's a very simple formula. You want to give these guys some steam when they come in, and I thought they dropped the ball on that big time.
Yeah, I do too. And did they not want to have the Usos get squashed? I mean, you took all the words right out of my mouth. But the most important thing was, why did Roman come out for the save and beat them both down?
That was the most annoying fucking thing.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? You debut these guys against a mid-card team with no direction that nobody cares about. They can't beat them convincingly, okay? They have a back-and-forth competitive match, and it takes them 15 minutes to win. And then Roman Reigns comes down, and he beats up everybody by himself.
Yeah, twice, actually.
Twice on the show. I mean, it was unbelievable how out of touch these bookers are. These writers, these fucking pencil over the ear moron writers that they have in the back coming up with this bullshit.
Well, they want to make Roman over. They want to keep him over, make him the top guy. He's the guy, remember?
Yeah, but it's like, all the hardcore fans are going to reject that.
Of course. Well,
they're going to reject that because they know what the deal is.
That's already started, and I don't think it's ending anytime soon. Not even close. Okay, so Dolph Ziggler jumping Baron Corbin from behind. I know why Gary put this in there, because he loves Baron Corbin.
Gary's got great taste in wrestling, by the way.
Clearly. Baron Corbin, that just set up their match at Payback, which will probably be very good. Corbin's hanging in there with one of the best. And clearly, Ziggler's the enhancement talent.
As he should be. I think they made a mistake by having Baron Corbin run away from Ziggler. I thought that was totally stupid and didn't fit his character at all. They have a real problem with writing for wrestlers and having them do things that their character would not do. So I don't know what the disconnect is there, but clearly that's not something Corbin would have done. I know they need to give Ziggler some momentum going into the match because he's going to lose, let's face it. And I hope Corbin squashes him like a grape.
Well, he probably will. he probably will. All right, Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio. What do you got to say on this front?
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a flop of a main event.
But no, it wasn't, because Roman Reigns was in the main event. It wasn't a flop.
Well, the ratings say it was a flop.
Well, the ratings are a flop every week.
I mean, Roman Reigns is a top guy as a flop. It's like they have the chance here to make him a heel, and maybe they will at some point. But, man, they just, when Alberto Del Rio, who's had no direction, improperly booked, he's been totally uninspiring compared to his Lucha Underground run. When he comes in and the crowd is cheering for him over Roman Reigns.
Doesn't that say something?
Man, how tone deaf can Vince McMahon be?
Clearly tone deaf enough, but the fact is it's not going to change anytime soon. It's just not. And how do you change that? Vince is out of control, but that's also not going to happen. So you're screwed both ways. Roman Reigns will be the guy until at least WrestleMania 34. Not a bad guy, not a good guy. He's going to be the guy for that long. So prepare and enjoy the ride.
The guy who kills ratings.
Truth be told, honestly, if it was only 2 hours, no, the ratings for Roman would not be that bad. but just due to the fact that the show is 3 hours and the last hour is always the lowest of each week, there's your problem.
It's like I tweeted to you. Okay, the fact is, people were leaving the building as this match was starting because they don't want to see Roman Reigns, and they definitely don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio as the main event of a Raw. And so 3/4 of the upper deck, I'm told, the upper section, just left. And it's incredible. I mean, and the same thing WrestleMania when he faced Triple H and won. Thousands of people were reportedly leaving. But that's not a problem with the 3-hour Raw. That's a problem with the guy they have in the main event.
But Vince doesn't give a shit.
He seems to. You're right, and he seems to be determined not only to keep him in the main event, but to keep him as a babyface who's just kind of like a little bit of a tweener because he doesn't want him to be anything other than a babyface.
There's no logic involved. There just isn't. And I don't know when, and I don't like to complain. I truthfully don't. Like I don't want to complain about it, but I don't know what else to do. You know, we cover this all year round, so clearly we're going to have an opinion, and I don't want my opinion to be their top guy's a piece of shit. But I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's just not working. It's not working. And look, I thought the show overall was pretty good. It was all right. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was, I feel like it's slipping a little bit every week over the past few weeks. They're kind of going into a maintenance mode until SummerSlam, in my opinion. And I think that's what you'll see. You'll see the next couple of pay-per-views, the same shit, the same matches every pay-per-view, and kind of like a maintenance mode. We're going to hit a lull, I think, before SummerSlam.
See, I'll disagree with you, though. I think that Payback is going to really change something. And before we get into Payback, you know what? Yeah. Before we get into Payback, so WrestleMania is still meaningless completely because at Payback, Vince will announce if either Stephanie or Shane will control Raw or who's going to control Raw in general. That's happening.
Yeah, I guess that match with The Undertaker never happened.
It didn't happen. Seriously, though, like I would love to have been a fly on the wall when they were writing Raw the Monday after Mania. Seriously, what do you think was said? Let's here. I'm gonna go out there, and I'm just gonna be like, you know what, Shane? I think you're gonna do it, and I want to see you fail. So go do it. I think that's what else. What else could have been said? Taker won in a pretty decent match. I wasn't upset over it. It was a decent match. Okay, you had a big moment. Shane came out on Raw, thanked everybody. Leave it at that. And honestly, at this point, who gives a shit who controls Raw anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's who knows, but yeah, Raw was the 2.2. Lowest in 19 years, really, excluding one holiday episode, I think, in 2012.
Yeah.
But, they've got to change it up. They're pushing some new guys, which is good. They're in a lull. They're in a decline that they created. They're completely responsible for this, by the way.
Of course they are.
And what they did at WrestleMania is just another example of them using top guys to put over their own egos over the guys that are working 250, 300 days a year. It's the same fucking formula they've been using. And they wonder why these guys can't draw houses that work on their card full time, and why they're not stars like Austin and The Rock and Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels and blah, 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 blah. So now they're in a position where the ratings are in the tank. They're getting worse because they're going out and putting on a 3-hour show with guys that aren't really that over and who are not established stars or household names. And that's their own doing.
Yeah, it is.
But they deserve this. So there's going to be a period for a while where this is really going to suck. The ratings are going to suck for a while.
But they can't go back to the Legends and part-timers to save the ratings. They have to stick this one out.
They absolutely do. You're absolutely right.
Well, what do you think happened in 1996? Did they go back? Did they go back and get Hogan? Hogan. No, the Ultimate Warrior. You were alive then. Help me out. Did they go back and get? Did they go back and get like Snuka and those kind of guys?
I mean,
Piper.
Yeah, they went through a lull in the '90s. They went through a similar thing in the '90s where they had to create new stars. Bret Hart, Diesel, some of the different stars, Razor Ramon. There was a lull period there where it was just, not very good at all. But it was their doing. You've got to create stars, and they just really seem to have a difficult time doing that. And part of that is because they script so goddamn much of it, and it's all PG. It's very watered down PG. It's not even just PG. It's watered down PG. It's so stupid. It's not realistic to people's characters, and the whole thing is just so bad. I mean, they're gonna have to stick it out. You're absolutely right.
Before we get into some Payback predictions, it's like a couple of notes. The League of Nations are done. They're donezo. They're over with. Thank God. Because that was the most boring piece of shit I've ever seen. Ric Flair told Natalya to kill herself on SmackDown, which was obviously edited out for television, and then the old incident at the Logan Airport in Boston. Take it away.
Yes, I'm going to play the clip of Ric Flair telling Natalya live on SmackDown from someone in attendance, which obviously was edited out. Here we go, Ric Flair. Woo! And so he's kill yourself, you're out of your mind. If you watch the video, if you've seen it, it's on our Twitter account at the VOTV podcast. But man, Charlotte's face, she's in shock.
Well,
you look at her reaction.
I would be.
Dean Ambrose is in shock, but laughing and covers his mouth with his hand. Yeah, Ric Flair is a hot mess, as they would say.
He should not be on TV anymore. Period.
He definitely shouldn't have a mic. I mean, and they say, okay, he wasn't intoxicated, but I mean, there's pictures of him at the bar, sleeping at the airport, Man, I don't know. I just, based on his history, I just don't buy he hadn't been drinking. But you know what? He is his gimmick, and it's never stopped.
But okay, to be fair, just because he's at the bar doesn't mean he got drunk. He might have had a beer too. When I fly, I down 2 or 3 beers before I get on the plane because I'm nervous.
Well, that's just because you don't like to fly.
Also, Ric Flair did get in a plane accident in the 70s, I believe. Yeah, 70s. So maybe if he's afraid to fly. Thank you. Maybe he's afraid to fly. I'm making excuses for the guy, I know, but we truthfully don't know. And if we really don't know, then I don't think we should really judge him for it. On the record, am I being too kind to Mr. Flair? Maybe. But I like to give people a fair chance.
No, I think you're right. I mean, they say maybe the cop was a big Ric Flair fan, but they say he wasn't intoxicated, but he kind of tripped at the airport, and I don't know, man. I just don't want to see anything tragic happen to Ric Flair, but yeah, it was interesting, and I think he's probably in the doghouse of the WWE, and they're actually investigating the incident at Logan Airport themselves.
Yeah. I'm going to say something pretty realistic. Not a lot of people are going to like it, but you just said something hoping nothing tragic happens to Ric Flair. The day that Ric Flair passes away, which it's inevitable, people die, what are the chances that the WWE capitalizes on that and pushes Charlotte to the moon and she's the most over person in the company? Honestly.
You never know. I mean, you never know. Well, she wasn't going to object to the Reed angle. So if they came to her and said, "This is what we're going to do," I don't think she would tell them no, or she'd be afraid to. But I think it would be really a terrible thing to do. But you can't rule it out. Let's be honest.
That just crossed my mind because
Yeah.
they and I'm not bashing them as a company, but they've capitalized on things like that before.
Yeah, and let me tell you, being someone who's grown up watching Ric Flair, I'm a Ric Flair fan. He's one of the all-time absolute greats, on the short list of all-time greats. And I watched him wrestling growing up, and he was phenomenal. And one of the biggest matches ever to me was that first meeting on pay-per-view that Hogan and Flair had. Hogan had come into the company and won the championship from Flair on pay-per-view. It was incredible. So I'm a Flair fan. I just feel like he's probably parties hard and he's in a bad place in his life. The guy's lost a son, and maybe he needs some support,
Maybe,
or some help.
but hey,
you never know.
He doesn't do porn, so WWE is going to help him. So, whoops. All right, so moving on to the payback predictions. The last few times Brad and I have done predictions, we've been right nearly we've been pretty wrong, actually. And I haven't kept track whatsoever. So if you want to keep track at home, let us know how we do. You can tweet us your prediction brackets at Fisher Wrestling and the VOTV podcast. Let us know how you do. The winner gets $15. That's a lie. And I'm not going to edit that out just to make people all really, really triggered. So, first match. The pre-show. Okay, the next match. First on the main card. Let's do Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Big Banter Corbin.
Corbin's gonna squash him.
Okay, I agree. Baron Corbin, ladies and gentlemen, he swept the lineup here. Sami Zayn. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the pre-show because it's such a fucking joke. Kalisto and Ryback, those two have not been on the main on Raw one time since Mania. Why do they have a pre-show match?
Well, this is just because Ryback was complaining. He complained.
Yeah, he
to
did.
Management about his match on the card or whatever, and he's unhappy right now. And maybe he'll be one of the ones that goes soon. But I'm going to pick that Kalisto retains.
So do I.
Welcome to the pre-show Ryback, right where you belong.
Okay, a match that I'm extremely looking forward to. Let's try and talk tonight. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
Yeah, this is
Kevin Owens.
Interesting.
I have Kevin Owens. He's 100%.
I think you can't have the underdog babyface win too soon here. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens as well.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. Sami Zayn will win a match of theirs because in this feud, it actually makes sense for them to wrestle more than one time. See, it can be done right. So I guess we're both going to go Kevin Owens here. It's going to steal the show. Let's not forget that. That show's going to be match of the night.
Yeah, it's going to be a very good match, and I'm looking forward to it for sure.
So Vince McMahon is going to announce who will run Raw, Shane or Stephanie. And while you think of your prediction, I will give you mine.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. They could just turn around and the next night change their mind and say it's someone else, right?
Yeah. It could be a computer.
Maybe maybe it'll be like a match stipulation or something. Winner takes control of Raw or something, or one is SmackDown, one is Raw. It'll probably be something like that, but whatever. Who cares?
Well, here, I mean, if that's what you feel, Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hold on.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. All right. Well, there goes all my shenanigans. Enzo and Big Cass, because for whatever reason Vince hates first names, because fuck that logic. Enzo Amore and Big Cass face the Vaudevillains for the #1 contendership for the Tag Team Championship. By the way, if they really get rid of Amore as part of Enzo Amore's name, how the fuck is their promo going to say, "I'm Enzo and this is Big Cass," and you can't teach butt shit? I don't know. How are they going to get rid of his last name? That's going to ruin the whole promo.
Maybe they don't care. I don't know. Everyone has to be a Madonna or a Cher in WWE. They can't have a last name.
So Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose will keep their names?
No, eventually they'll probably be, let's see, Reigns, Rollins, and Ambrose.
Yeah.
They're taking away all two-man, all first names. All
it will.
Names.
It will. It's going to be Owens versus Zayn. Owens versus Zayn. Charlotte and Natalya is already good. It'll just be called Vaudevillains and not the Vaudevillains. Let me look down the list here. Miz and Cesaro, Reigns versus Styles, Ziggler versus Corbin. These names write themselves, literally. For this match, I have the Vaudevillains taking it and the Dudleys screwing over Enzo and Big Cass in the match, leading to the Vaudevillains victory.
I'm not sure what benefit you got out of being a drunk pimp.
He's back! We need Dr. Phil to help the ratings.
Clearly. What are those you're standing on? My feet. Yes, your feet.
I'm going to go with the Vaudevillains. I think they're going to win. Dudley Boys probably interfere and cause the Vaudevillains to win.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had. The Women's Championship, speak of the devil. Charlotte versus Natalya. This is an easy win for Charlotte. Sorry, Natty.
Well, maybe with Ric Flair getting punished, they'll change it. But yeah, Charlotte.
I don't see what else could happen. Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. If they have Jericho win, I have no more faith anymore. Ever.
I'm going to go with Ambrose.
Me too. But I'm saying, if Jericho has to win, there's no reason for him to win. Absolutely none.
Oh, no, not at all. He shouldn't have beat Styles at WrestleMania.
Exactly. Or they're doing that so Ambrose would look stronger at Payback.
Yeah, except that Styles went on to the main event of the same pay-per-view.
None of that makes any sense. Well, goddamn, the fans are they're dumb. The fans are stupid. I'm smarter than the fans. So, because I'm Vince McMahon, damn it. All right. The Intercontinental Championship, The Miz and Cesaro. A lot of people have Cesaro getting a big push, which could mean this pay-per-view he wins the title. So they're playing hot potato, obviously. So you'd have Ryder, Miz, and Cesaro in a span of a month. It doesn't make sense for the belt, but it does make sense for Cesaro and his push, if this is all true. I'm going to go with The Miz, just be on the safe side. The Maurice is going to help him retain his belt.
Yeah, I'm going to go with The Miz as well. It's too soon for him to lose.
That's it? That's all you got? That's all you got on that?
Well, no, I mean Cesaro will probably win eventually, like maybe one of the rematches or something.
Yeah.
But it's too soon. Like you said, it's been hot potato, and I hate that. And they just need to wait a couple of months at least. So, yeah, Miz, maybe he doesn't even win the match, but he's definitely leaving the champion.
I hope so. That's all I got to say is I hope so. Maybe an Extreme Rules match soon. An Extreme Rules, maybe? And that's where Cesaro wins? I don't know. All right, last but not least, you have Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles.
Yeah, this is Roman Reigns is going to retain the title.
You said Roman Reigns is going to win the title?
He's going to retain the title, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's really maybe a 1% chance that anything else happens.
Nothing else would make sense, though. I mean, is Finn Balor going to appear on Payback?
I'm not convinced he is.
Would you be surprised if he did?
I wouldn't be surprised because, Jesus Christ, I mean, they got to get these guys in their mid-30s up to the roster. It's either like, you got to piss or get off the pot here with these guys. And, you either get them on the main roster and push them or you don't ever do that. I mean, they're in their mid-30s. But, no, I think that's what they need to do. I think he should debut. And I would have him and Gallows and Anderson as the Baylor Club or Bulletproof. And I would have them attack AJ Styles and ensure Roman Reigns retains the title. Are they going to do that? I'm not sure about that at all right now. And I don't want to provide any spoilers to NXT, so I won't say anything more.
Okay. Thank you for that. You respect me. You respect me dearly. So tonight on SmackDown, you had Gallows take a spear from Roman Reigns and he pushed Styles out of the way. If you watch SmackDown, you can even see it on WWE's Twitter. They have like a GIF of it. He pushed Styles out of the way so he can take the spear from Roman. You could have this whole animosity of like, we sacrificed our bodies for you, but what have you done for us? It's time now for you to get what you deserve. And they could even say, we kicked you out of the Bullet Club for a reason. We're going to start a thing with Roman. I don't know. Something like that can be done. Good.
Yeah, you're right. I think Reigns wins, but I think Gallows and Anderson are involved. Is it going to be the new Roman Empire with Gallows, Anderson, Reigns? Is it going to be the Balor Club? Is AJ Styles going to be the leader of the Bulletproof or whatever they have with Gallows and Anderson? It's got to be something. I don't think they can keep Gallows and Anderson by themselves forever. It's such a waste, Yeah, I don't know at this point. I can't really say much else without spoiling stuff. So
okay,
we'll see.
We shall see. All right, Brad. So what a show! It's 2-2, almost the start of the third period here. And I hear thunder. Oh boy, the Vince McMahon might have just stomped his foot. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to go check that out. But anyway, where can we find you on the Twitter machine?
You can find me at the VOTV podcast. Capitals have tied it up, by the way. At the VOTV podcast, Voices of the Voiceless. I think you know it by now, or you are intelligent enough to figure that out. Find me on the Twitter. Add me, follow me, quote me, requote, whatever you do on Twitter. Let's do it, okay? And that's how you can find me.
All right, you can find me at Fisher Wrestling on Twitter. Tweet at me, man. I'd love to chat. Let's jam. Anything else?
Yes. Subscribe to us on iTunes, please. And pretty please rate us. 5 stars. Not 4, not 1, not anything in between. Rate us 5 stars. Thank you in advance.
And yep, this is John Fisher once again. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will see you all next week. Ciao.